You are competing for his money, okay, versus first of all the asset classes that I've just listed out, right? All of those asset classes are putting him to sleep very nicely at night. Most of them are at different levels of security, but they are known levels of security, right? There are accreditations that happen, there are valuations that happen, NAVs happen, NPAs happen, all of those happen. There's data flowing in. Okay, his comfort level is very high. You are going and telling him, buddy, I am just giving you a promise, I am giving you no data. However many of you tell me that I have an Excel sheet, I'll change one number, the whole thing changes, right? You are competing against all those asset classes and all those securities. So you need to first understand that, right? Second, even if he is, let's say he is sector specific in his investment in startup, let's say it's mobile internet because I'm sitting here. He's not going to take it just because you're there. There are hundreds of people approaching. So you have to compete with asset classes, then you have to compete with the sector sentiment, whether it's growing, not growing, how is it happening, right? And then you have to compete with other entrepreneurs, your peers. Try and understand this. This is an asset class, that's why I'm just trying to say this is just an asset class in his portfolio. He may be $1 billion guy. You don't want to invest $1 billion in you or in even a startup asset. And if he's had a bad experience, you have a tougher hill to climb. I'm giving you this perspective because the investor perspective needs to be understood by you. And I do the same thing with investors, by the way. I do tell them, this is the kind of Indian entrepreneurial ecosystem, the challenges, I do that. But you need to understand where these guys are. They also are evaluating how much time do I have to put in this startup. They are evaluating. Do I want to put in that much time? Every investor is at a different stage in life. Right? So, Raman, a lot of people say, why can't I get money from Raman? Why can't I get time from Raman? Have you read up on Raman? What is he doing today? Go to the web, read up, you'll see that he's running Quattro, he's doing acquisitions, blah, blah, blah. Where has he got the time? You know, so all of these things you need to start thinking about before you come even to a fund, come to an investor to raise funds. Okay. Can you go back to the previous slide? I haven't finished. Just let me tell you what switch this slide. Okay. Now, what also happens is investors also look for hedging their risks. Okay? So they hedge their risks in a couple of ways. They hedge their risks by investing in a number of startups. Now I'm coming to their investing in startups, right? They hedge their risks by investing in a number of startups. Globally, the average is that if an investor is invested in 10 companies, okay, 4 or 5 are going to go south. It's a given situation. We all live with that. And we tell investors, if you invest and you can't sleep, this is not for you. It's a ruling for them. Okay. 2-3 companies will give average or a little better than average returns. Okay. It will only be 2 at the maximum, which will give them blockbuster returns. And those 2 blockbusters have to not only cover the capital of all the 10 companies is invested, it has to give returns for all the 10 companies on that entire capital, which has to be far better than market returns. That's the reality. So when entrepreneurs come and ask me, what's the IRR that you're looking for? 1000%. Because you are going to cover, if you do well, you almost have to cover my entire capital cost and expected returns on that entire capital. Because this asset class in my investor portfolio is a kicker. It's not mainstream. It is the kicker. Markets are going to go down. We used to invest at 24%, it became 18%, right? Market returns. We're now talking about 12% and more down, it's going to go down further. If I'm taking the risk, I want the kicker. Very clinical, very straight. Now, if that is that, I'm not going to look for the best. I'm going to look for the best of the best. Because 80% of my investments, I have to sleep and take it in my mind that they're going to go down the tube. So I'm going to look which one of them, each one of them must have the potential for that 20%. Out of that, hopefully 20% will give me a kicker. Do you get the psychology? Do you get the maths there? So they are then looking for ways of hedging their risks because there is very high risk. How do they hedge their risks? They hedge their risk one by putting money in a number of companies, hoping that one horse will win the race. Correct? The second they do is they invest money in different sectors. So that the sector grows, the sector changes, they can take part in that. Now they don't have domain expertise on the sectors, right? So he may be very well tuned into the mobile space, but if he's going to look at saying, look, I should also invest in education or healthcare, then I can risk my hedge. I can hedge my risks, correct? But he has zero domain expertise. How is he going to evaluate that? How is he even going to understand what are the commercial models that work? What is the next thing that's required? Who are the networks that he can connect his company to? He has zero connects there, or very little. So he therefore looks at people from other domains to invest with them. So if he's a mobile expert, he will invest in a mobile company, and 5 other investors who are non-mobile domain experts will invest on the diligence of this guy. Excuse me. So he starts co-investing. Okay, so that's the genesis of angel groups. That's why we have a 200 plus angel group of people coming in from domain expertise. I'm constantly looking for people from different sectors. Why? Why am I not one sector? This is the reason. This is the reason. Correct? So he may come in just with 10 lakhs. Let's say it's a 1 crore investment. But behind him, on his understanding of the domain, on his strategic leadership, on his ability to network the company to other players, other 9 non-industry players will put money. And the same, the whole model switches. If there's an education, someone else will take the lead. You know, that's how it works. So that's how they hedge their risks. Got it? Okay. And that's why, you know, a very well networked, multi-sectoral angel group makes sense. Group of angels. Whether that's an angel group or a group of angels, I really don't care. But I'm saying that's why it makes sense. Because the pot of money that you can access as an entrepreneur is large. Right? An education guy is happy to put some money in mobile because he knows he doesn't want to park all his money in education. But there needs to be an investor who will lead the team, who will diligence the team, who has to be from that domain and industry. That's why co-investment happens. Now, what angels say, and we do it all the time, it's not only money, it's time, it's expertise, and it's networks. And networks, believe me, we don't just open up, just don't put a connector in. That doesn't happen like that. There's much more hard work that happens. The first thing that you do as a startup, what you don't have is credibility. That's the reality. All of you guys are very credible, but as a startup, in the eyes of the client, you don't have credibility. You could well be a fly-by-night operator. By getting a well-known angel investor in your company, you are now known as that guy's company. You're immediately leveraging the brand. You've added credibility, you've added brand into your company. Number 2, let's assume Raman, just because I was talking about him. Raman calls this is my company, and you get a meeting. You get a meeting straight with the guy you want, be it a CTO or CEO or CO, whatever is required. If you didn't have that, you would be walking all those junior level steps, pushing yourself, taking a different time cycle to reach there, if at all. So this is huge credibility that we bring. So please don't, I tell this to entrepreneurs, don't take it lightly that a guy has just put in connector mail. The fact that that connector mail has gone from his email ID, please, he's putting his brand and credibility behind you and honor it. We have many situations in our own investing companies, and I blow like crazy. We connect them and they just don't take it forward. It's not a disrespect to yourself, it's a disrespect to the guy who's connecting you. He's never going to come forth again and do anything for you. Please be aware of this. Don't disrespect. You're disrespecting yourself in some ways and disadvantaging yourself for the future. We've also done things, we just did a deal with medical devices, for instance. I don't know how many of you read the press release or console. We not only invested, but I actually sat and got them $500,000 of grant. How do they get that? It doesn't happen just because you're a great innovative company. That has to be there. Why would USA look at you? See, all these grant giving companies, they're not taking a risk. They have a pot of money and they're doling. Be it the government, be it multilateral agencies, be it corporates, correct? What they're looking is my money going to the right person and is it going to be used right? They're not asking for return, are they? They just don't want their money to be misused. How are you going to prove that? Correct? So, people who are well networked and who are credible by saying, no, this is my company, it gives a huge level of confidence. I'm just trying to say what are the different kinds of value adds that we constantly provide. I'm not even talking about the various sessions that the investors have with the entrepreneurs on strategic discussions. We have every quarter we have an investor call. It's really not to look at your numbers or how you've done. Those are just indicators. Why have the numbers fallen? Tell us your problems. That's the question. It's not to say why have the numbers fallen and I'm going to hit your head. No. It's really to say why have they fallen? Where are you getting stuck? Where is it that we can help? Is there something is there a strategy different that we should think about? This worked for us, can this work for you? So when we have investor calls, these are not control issues. These are not review issues. These are strategic discussions. Every iron investing company goes through this. And every iron investing company that I've worked with has this problem. Har 3 mahine we'll have a call. Yes. And then once they have one call, they say, when can we have the next one? So these are the kind of value adds that you do, or any individual do for that. So this is my sales slide. So please pardon me, but I'm going to say it. It's the most complete player. We have an incubator, we have an angel group, we are now looking at doing a fund. We brought the concept of angel investment in the country. We also went through a startup phase, let me tell you that. Okay? Angel groups existed in the valley, existed in the west for over 20 years. We thought, and I really thought actually, Everything exists, copy, paste, and it will roll. It didn't work. We really cried, we really bled, we took a lot of 90-degree turns. And that actually taught us better to work with you guys. Honest to goodness. Those phases really taught us to say, listen, we need to think, we need to work with the entrepreneurs, and because we needed to work with ourselves. It was an entrepreneurial adventure. There was a lot of learning that we did. We really had to create an angel investment model for India. So we are now 200 investors, 20% of our investors sit overseas. Incidentally, 80% of them invest through us. They are much higher than Indian investors in terms of percentage. And I've now spoken to about 130, 140 angel groups around the world. We are the most active, actually. So we have about 80, 90 investors who've invested, which is very high. We get a very good engagement. And the other thing I have to tell you that another advantage of an angel, a group of angels, whether it's an angel group or a set of individuals coming together, whether they've invested or not, they will always help the investing. Because today I have an investment and I'm asking your help. Tomorrow you may have an investment and I will help. So there's always this opening. So you're not restricted to the thinking of the networks of the 10 people who invested in your company. You're being able to leverage a much larger pool. That's very useful. So we had a company which came to us with 4 clients in April. By December, they had 24 clients and they were saying, hold on, please, we can't close. And that's suddenly taken the company to a different level. They were Bombay based, they opened in Pune, they opened in Hyderabad, they opened in Delhi, now Bangalore they're thinking of opening. That's the kind of growth that investors like, and I'm sure entrepreneurs also. As I was telling CJ, we have entrepreneur pitch sessions every week somewhere in the country where entrepreneurs present. I think I'll leave that to CJ to say we are thinking of sort of partnering with you guys, StartupVillage, to do this, so why not? We've also sort of embedded in our system pilots for like Intel is there, Google is there for customer validation, technology expertise. We've got Simply, we've got Nexus, we've got Sequoia, so next round funding makes it a little easier. And we have an incubator just like you guys. We are much younger, much smaller than you and I think you guys are doing a much better job. Congratulations. We have a lot to learn there actually. Just to give you, we've done all these sectors. We are 36 investments, 26 incubators, so we have a heavy portfolio of 50 plus deals. This is all that we are talking about and we can move on. Okay, now this is what I want to. So you got a background of investors, right? You understood their perspective, right? Anything you want to ask, please feel free. Anything that I'm not being clear, I've messed up, missed. Because what I want to now do is really say what you should be doing in your pitch to the investors. You okay? Yeah.
What would be the maximum stake that they will be looking for?
Always a minority.
Means maximum, like 5%. Okay.
Max. We've done something, one deal I think we've done at 32%, but 30 is
if they have taken 30% stake and once this company has started to grow up, what if the ones who had the plan, means the entrepreneurs, think that, oh, why should we go with this 30% stake? We'll start one of our own after 1 year or so.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If they want to do their startup, they don't need you. They can do it on themselves.
No.
I think he's asking the opposite question.
Okay.
What do entrepreneurs
you guys think that why should we give 30% of stake to those people? What would we do it out of our own?
Why not?
Like,
Give them a good valuation. Why not? They're happy.
After 1 hour, we'll be having money.
Yeah. So if they invested at 100 rupees and you give them at 3,000 rupees, they'll be happy. Why wouldn't they in less than 12 months?
Why should we give them, if we have started on a company called like ABC, and after 1 year, it has grown up, and we have the money to start another company similar to that.
Oh, no. You are tied down legally to that. No, you can't take people for a ride.
What is the backing? This must have your
So there are a lot of exit clauses that are enunciated. One of the, so you could well, you don't want to run the company. Remember, investors don't want to stay invested in that company, and we'll come to that why. But you want to close down the company. You don't need to make, if it's a company which is doing well, sell it.
No.
You also make money. They also make money, and go and do another company.
Actually, he's asking a typical Mallu question. The official word is Tarigida here.
What?
The official word is Tarigida in Malayalam.
Okay,
What he's saying is, okay, angels have come in there, put in some money, and after 1 year, the founders, let's say there are 3 founders, they have found out that, this is something really great. So he's saying parallelly, maybe they start another company in another name, making this idea there. That's where the question is answered.
idea is already.
Remember, investors are sometimes, or in most cases, a little smarter.
I feel like realistic doesn't work. However much you plan, it doesn't work realistically. Running a company is a full-time job, it's a really big thing itself. If you are smart, you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah, and I'd say this for a company, and I don't know if I should share this, but this guy was a Kenite. So,
Right platform to share.
so what he did is he took money to the ground. He bought an air, Mac Air, he bought whatever, the works. And then we started finding out that he was disengaging. He was doing a lot of other things. So for me, an entrepreneur has to be not only full-time, he has to be 24/7, 366 days. If there is one more day in the year. Okay? We suddenly found out that he's sort of working doing a lot of industry engagement activities. Now, industry engagement is a very good idea. Don't get me wrong. A lot of us do that. A lot of us, all these brands that you see on that wall have happened like that. But for a startup and early stage, no. Every single minute, breathing minute, not waking minute, has to go into that startup. And unfortunately, I think we had recognized this. We started diluting him. There are a whole lot of things we did. But he actually jumped the country. He hasn't come back because there is a message out. Now, message is not out to put him behind the bars. The message that is out, that if he comes back and tries to do another company and raise money, there's going to be a ref check. 100% will be a ref check. Because we investors also are networked. Right? We will do ref checks. We will pick up the phone and speak to even your school teacher. So, you try and do that. And if you find a way to do that, I'll invest in them. Okay?
One quick clarification. Like last time, I participated in this IBM Smart Camp in Bangalore. So we were in top 15. So
congratulations.
Yeah, thanks for that. See, when Mr. Vignesh was delivering his speech there, he mentioned Mr. Vignesh. So he was mentioning like when he got for the first investment, like when he started the company. Okay, so that investor, he told him like will initially give you 30%, 30% of your investment. Then if the company is not performing, you will increase that 30%, 40%, 50%, and one fine morning the company will be with you. So is that happening here?
No, and yes. So what you are talking about is a dilution model.
Yeah.
Okay.
This happened a few years back.
Yeah. So will you remind me that when we come to the valuation part, I can pick it up or I can explain it now? Okay. Let me explain now as it were. So what happens is, listen, you are a startup, right? You have almost nothing on the table. What are you getting the investment from? You are projecting a potential and you are promising that I'm going to work my ass off to do this. That's all that you are doing. truly and honestly. If you have an IP, it's in an application mode, right? And if I wanted your IP, I would go and buy out the IP. I wouldn't even bother. So I'm not out to buy your IP as an investment. I'm out to invest in the growth of the company, which is just a promise and just a rainbow at the end, right? On the other hand, you're asking me that I'm promising you, I'm showing you a potential, I'm showing you a very nice picture, but you put hard cash. That's what you're asking. So you're asking reality versus virtue. Correct? Now, when I put in the money, I have agreed to all the projections that you have said, that I'm going to hit 2 crores in the second year, I'm going to hit 5 crores in blah blah, I'm going to do this. Right? Now, how do I ensure that you're going to do that? And why should I not be gratified as an investor? Because for me, this is a commercial decision, right? Why should I not be gratified if you're not performing? Right? So for me, there are only 2 models. One is if you're not performing, I write off the investment. Correct? The second is that there is some potential, you're not doing certain things, I better take equity from you. Okay? And I may hire you to do things in your company because you're not performing. That is one use of taking more equity. So you're, let's say 30-70, you have 70, we have 30 as an investor. So I don't want to dilute from my 30% because of your non-performance. You better pay for it. Listen guys, I'm being very direct, so this is nothing personal. But it's easier to explain. So you better pay for it. Now, you are not doing A, B, C, D, E. So you are not able to do it. Right? And your performance has not shown. I'm not going to let my money sink. So I'm going to bring him to do A, B, C, D, E. He is saying that, give me market salary of 1 crore, which the startup doesn't have. How do I get him on board? The only way I can get him back. First, take 15 lakhs and here is 10% of the company. That's why I need you to dilute. Does that respond to your question?
Does the angel
But if I have to buy 100% of your company, I'll be a fool. If I don't want to run that company. Because buying 100% of something which is giving 0 value is still 0. So why would I want to argue with you to take 100% of it? I'll only do it if I can see potential and I can see that there is an ability to execute on that potential and assuming that you can't. Or even if I don't bring anyone in, you need to be business. So please understand, this is a very, very commercial decision for investors. For founders, we completely understand there is an emotional element to it. This is my company, I bred it, my baby, all of that. Investors don't look at the marriage contract, we look at the divorce contract. How are we, and I'll come to that. We look at the divorce contract. Someone else could ask me. Yeah.
So how do you enter into a legally binding and
something called a shareholders agreement.
So that agents also.
Everybody signs.
And so what kind of evaluations do you do and what is the time periods involved in which you figure out that X?
What? X?
I mean, and anything which you have invested as an angel is not performing at par to.
Yeah, so when we do a shareholders agreement, there is an extra one in my document which is called the milestone document. So we use milestone document for 2 reasons. First of all, I don't want good money to go behind bad money. So let's assume again, going back to the same example, 1 crore is what I've decided to invest in. Okay? Now, this 1 crore you told me is going to last you for 12 months to move from point A to point C, and 6 months there is a point B where I will see a milestone. Right? You projected that and I have agreed to that also. So it's a joint decision. Now, I will say, okay, to reach from point A to point B, you actually need just 50 lakhs. So I am giving you first 50 lakhs. I am trying to give you